Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Joe Ranieri. And tonight for David, we start with a shortage you've probably seen for yourselves. Eggs are either missing or much more costly than they used to be at grocery stores across the country. Well, after hearing of some bare shelves at local stores today, we sent our Catherine Cook to find out what's happening and why some local farmers are still in good shape.
Here's something. The average American eats nearly 300 eggs a year. That's a lot of eggs. And if you've ever really wondered whether it was the chicken or the egg that came first, look no further than these empty shelves. Since last February, the USDA reports an outbreak of the deadly and highly contagious avian flu has killed more than 43 million egg-laying hens. The virus hit in two waves, from February to June, and another between September and December.
The strains are kind of changing, and we're seeing a little bit of resistance come in. And there's a lot of people talking about this. So when you go to the grocery store, you're seeing egg prices much higher than they've been.
Barrett Nelson is an economist with the American Farm Bureau Federation. He notes data from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. It shows the national average price of a dozen large grade A eggs hit $4.25 in December. That's up from $1.79 just a year earlier. And that's if you can find them. We went on a little egg hunt around Southeast Powell and Cesar Chavez. Pickings were slim at Trader Joe's, which limited customers to one carton. Similar story at Natural Grocers. Both stores cited supply chain issues. This New Season store was out and wrote, "We apologize for our less than excellent section." The Portland-based chain told KGW they're working closely with suppliers to ensure they have the best selection possible for their customers. Both Safeway and Fred Meyer had plenty of eggs on shelves, with more boxes in stock. And if you know where to go, you can buy eggs straight from the farmer.
Plus, they're super fresh. Ours do not sit around for very long.
Jeff Scott co-owns Marion Acres and Helvetia Farm Market in Hillsboro. They're a grass-based farm with around 500 egg-laying hens. Fortunately, he says the avian flu hasn't reached them, though he says production is always slightly down in the winter.
It is unfortunate people can't get their eggs, but I am excited for any reason that has people look close to where they live for people producing high-quality food.
At $7.99 a dozen, eggs here aren't cheap, though many high-end grocers charge more than that. Scott says you get what you pay for.
Buy the eggs and then taste them and tell me if it's the same thing you're buying for $3.50 at Freddy's. I can guarantee you it is not.
And Scott notes many local farms are able to dodge a lot of wavering supply chain issues.
You won't be susceptible to the winds of high diesel prices and corn price fluctuations in the Midwest,
which experts say is another major factor consumers are paying for, from fuel to fertilizer.
And as long as all of those things stay in play, we're going to see those input costs stay elevated.
Finding a spot to buy fresh local eggs isn't that hard. While most farmers markets are closed for the winter, there are several farm stands that are still open for business. Plus, resources like Local Harvest and Oregon Pasture Network keep a running list. We'll be sure to post more on KGW.com. Joe.
Thanks, Catherine. It's absolutely incredible to see how much more we're spending now because of the labor shortage. Well, now let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. In Oregon, the 2023 legislative session will get underway tomorrow. One of the biggest changes will be the state's new governor, Tina Kotek, who was sworn in just last week. The assembly will also be fully in person this year. The Oregon Constitution gives the session a deadline of June 25th to wrap up, though an early finish is allowed. A year after a record number of deadly shootings in Portland, we now have the first one of 2023. It happened this afternoon at a 76 gas station on Northeast 102nd Avenue and Gleason. Portland police tell us the victim was taken to the hospital, but he later died from his injuries. We don't know what led up to the shooting, and we don't have any information about a suspect. And Oregon Representative Suzanne Bonamici and her husband are recovering after a car hit them Friday night in Northwest Portland. Police say they were in a crosswalk when the car knocked them down at a low speed. Representative Bonamici was treated for a concussion and a cut. Her husband suffered minor injuries. Bonamici tweeted they are recovering at home, and she thanked the supporters for their well wishes. In the murders of 4 University of Idaho students, it could be months before we learn new details about the killings. Suspect Brian Koberger isn't due back in court until June, but we are learning about what a potential defense could look like. Attorneys are already pointing out that Koberger won't be able to use an insanity plea. Law experts say Idaho is one of only a few states that does not accept mental condition as a defense.
And I'm expecting a really multi-layered defense that blames someone else, either another person or, get ready for it, an alter ego.
Koberger maintains his innocence. He's accused of stabbing and killing the 4 students at a home near campus back in November. Tonight, in a KGW investigation, banks and credit card companies have come a long way in preventing fraud. Customers are often alerted if there is some fishy activity, but unfortunately, many of those same security measures are not provided to low-income families, specifically those receiving government benefits on an Oregon Trail card. Our Kyle Leboshi found the government is providing very little protection to those most in need.
Crammed inside a budget hotel room, Tricia Collins works hard to make the most of a tough situation. With no steady income, the Portland woman stretches every penny to help support her 10-year-old son. State-issued food stamps and cash assistance are lifelines.
I depend on both of them to an extreme because if I don't have that, then his needs don't get met.
On the first of each month, the Oregon Department of Human Services loads Tricia's EBT card or Oregon Trail card with benefits.
We wait for that one day, that you're going to get paid and all the things that you need to get done are going to be done that day. There is no, you're not usually ahead of the game. There's just no way to be ahead.
So in the morning of December 1st, Tricia went to the ATM expecting to find a month's worth of benefits on her Oregon Trail card. But instead,
my money was gone and I didn't understand what was going on.
After a dizzying number of calls, Tricia finally reached Oregon DHS. A customer service agent explained that same morning at a 7-Eleven store in Edgewood, Washington, near Tacoma, someone had withdrawn $420 from Tricia's account during 2 separate transactions.
And there's no way I could have been there and here within an hour.
Tricia warned the state agency that her account had been compromised, but employees told her there's little they could do.
I'm hoping that this person only hit my card once and then it wasn't going to happen again.
But it did happen again, a month later. DHS told Tricia someone had stolen her benefits again on January 1st by withdrawing $400 from an ATM at a 7-Eleven store in Kent, Washington.
And it blew my mind that nobody on the fraud department side did anything. No flags, no nothing. Like if it was a Visa or MasterCard or something else, or the transactions were done in another state, you would get a call immediately.
I'm like, this can't be. I know there is money in there.
Jana McDonald of Portland had a similar experience. Someone swiped $600 in food stamp benefits from her Oregon Trail card. Benefits the state says can't be replaced.
And they said that it had been used all at once on an online order and it had gotten sent to Florida. And I'm like, wait a minute, no, Florida, I'm not in Florida, I'm here.
Over the past several months, the USDA, which oversees food assistance, along with several states, have warned about fraud tied to EBT accounts.
An influx of EBT fraud reports.
People are having their SNAP benefits stolen right out from under them.
By placing devices called skimmers on ATMs.
Police say dozens have reported money stolen from their EBT cards.
Crooks often skim EBT cards by secretly installing a device on ATM readers that send card numbers and PIN numbers back to the thieves, who then create fake cards and drain accounts.
And so we think it's unacceptable that fraudsters are getting away with taking those benefits from consumers with really no penalty.
John Breo of the National Consumers League says there's a pretty simple fix here. Upgrade the EBT cards with smart chip technology, which make them more difficult and expensive for fraudsters to skim. Currently, every state, including Oregon, still uses the old-fashioned cards with a magnetic stripe and no chip.
That is not secure, and it's trivially easy for crooks to use skimmers and other devices to get the information off those cards, clone the cards, and start running up charges on them.
In a written statement, an Oregon DHS spokesperson explained, chip cards are significantly more expensive for the state to issue and use than the current mag-stripe cards and are still susceptible to fraud and skimming devices. It is not believed that using chip EBT cards would significantly reduce the rates of fraud and stolen benefits, and that the increased cost of chip cards will not result in any significant benefit to people using EBT cards.
For card and PIN issues, press 1.
For fraud victims like Tricia, it seems like a no-brainer. Protect those most in need.
It's devastating for all of us for them not to do anything.
Tricia argues EBT recipients should have the same security technology as everyone else using the banking system. Think about it. Your debit cards and credit cards, they've got chips, but not the Oregon Trail card?
I'm sure they have enough money to put a chip in a damn card.
Now, if you have a story idea for Kyle to investigate, give him a call at 503-226-5041. The number's on your screen right there. Or you can email callkyle@kgw.com.